let's begin our conversation. Audience poor reaction to artists performing or performances during award shows. Whose fault? Let's speak with Nabil, big boss of Event Factory. Nabil, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Andy.
Many thanks for your time. Audience participation when an artist is performing on stage, whose fault? Is it the artist or the audience?
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. I think it's two ways. I have so many pointers that I can touch on, but let's start. I think sometimes when we go for events, the onus lies on us that we have the orientation that we are going to have fun or going to enjoy ourselves. But there are some elements that makes us not enjoy ourselves, and these are some of them. Technology, one. Technology in the sense that we go for events and we forget ourselves and know that we are going for this particular event. So we carry our phones, 2 phones, we go with friends and all that. Instead of concentrating and knowing that we are there to have fun, we tend to be on our phones for a very long time. So you get an artist performing, and instead of listening to the artist, we are checking Instagram, we're on Facebook, we are chatting with friends, and really not concentrating on what is going on stage. Another one also is money's worth. You go for events and you look on the bill and you ask yourself, am I going to get my money's worth in terms of what I'm paying to go for the event? So let's say you pay 200 Ghana cedis for an event and you go there and the performances are not nice. Obviously, you will not enjoy yourself. You will not react to whatever is going on. Third, VIP status or stature, which is something that we always put in front when we are doing arrangements for events. We put our VIP in front where they are the so-called big men and women, and those that are going to be the party poppers are behind. So it becomes difficult for those that are behind to share the artist when he or she is performing. Secondly, bloggers. I'm bringing in bloggers because most times when people are enjoying themselves, you have bloggers with phones in front of them, taking videos and showing things that the audience don't want to take out. So it becomes difficult for me to loosen up and have fun, shout, make fun of whatever is going on, because they know that if I misbehave or I don't comport myself in a certain way, by tomorrow my videos and stuff will be out there. So it becomes difficult for people to loosen up. And people always want their privacy. So that's another point. Artist performances. So when you come to the artist performances, most artists don't know how to perform to live audience. Doing recordings in the studio does not give you an ultimate or automatic performance ability. You need to learn. You need to ask people who are versed in this category. Another point also is when you perform to audience for a very long time, you need to change your performance. Because when I see your performance over and over and over again, I know what you come and do. So I expect you to vary your performances every time. Another point also is communication with audience. When you are performing, you need to communicate with your audience. I can mention an artist that for a very long time, whenever we are watching his performance, I tell my team that look at this person. He is going to perform with his back to the audience 70% of the time. And now they've tagged that artist like that. So anytime the artist come on stage and is performing, they tell me, look, he's going to turn. And lo and behold, he will turn. And his back will be to the audience, and he will be communicating with the bandsmen instead of the audience. So it's difficult sometimes to blame audience as well. Another point also is rehearsals. Once you have an event to play, you have to rehearse for it. You have to know the type of audience that you are performing to. So if it's a corporate event, you know how to perform. So you don't go on a corporate gig and let me give you an example. One time there was a corporate event, I think it was a presidential event, and one artist was on stage at the State House and was saying, hey, are you ready? Raise your hands. And everybody was sitting down looking at her. It was like, are you serious? Did we pay you to come command us to be raising our hands and responding to you? So you need to know the type of audience that you are going to perform to and vary your performances every time. Another point also that I want to make is wrong artist for the wrong program.
Mm-hmm.
If you are planning an event, it is not always, it's important, let me say, it is important for you to assess your event and know the type of artist that you want to put on. It's not because this person is reigning or this person is the artist of the year or this song is the song of the year, so you want to put the person on your program. No. You need to assess your program and know that, okay, this artist fits and this artist do not fit. The type of event also counts. So all these considerations needs to be done before you make such decisions. So it's a two-way affair. The audience and the artist also.
Well, it's good you did not lay directly at the doorstep of the audience, but because you obviously you are an event organizer, and so you know what goes into all of these preparations before. But as an event organizer, do you consider all of these things before beginning the show?
Yes, sure. Before we even decide to engage an artist for an event, we go through the processes of taking your songs, your performance abilities, and everything that you've done in the past years. And we look at our event and say, okay, let's say we are doing a comedy show. What kind of performances do we want to see? Do we want performances that there's been instances where we choose an artist and the artist disgrace themselves on stage. But we've chosen artists also that we feel that, this guy is going to give us the performance that we need. And it was a hit. So sometimes you weigh your options. You don't need to say, okay, because this person is artist, that is, his song is banging, so Dolly, he's going to give you the crowd and also give you the performance that you want. No. We go through all the checks and processes before we decide on an artist.
Now, but still on the artist, so you mentioned that some artists are not very good when it comes to performances, although they have good songs.
Yes.
Now, let's consider artists like somebody like Rex Omar.
Yes.
He has said it constantly that he doesn't know how to dance. I mean, I've seen Rex Omar on stage, and I tease him all the time. And each time you tease him, he accepts it wholeheartedly, like, and it's true, me, I don't know how to dance. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've watched performances. This morning I was playing a song by Teddy Pendergrass, the late Barry White. I mean, these people, you find them on the stage. Teddy Pendergrass sat in a wheelchair. Better still, when he performed, the audiences rose up and cheered him on. So, in this case, can we also look at the audience since you've tackled the performance in the stage? Can we also look at the other side? Let's flip the coin.
Okay, so performances is not about dancing.
No, I'm not talking about dancing. I mean,
No, I'm
just
just making a
not
point.
to not. Forgive me if I didn't describe it properly, but to say yes, watching him give me a show. Do you
Yes.
understand what I'm saying?
So I'm using Rex as an example for
right,
you.
right.
Yeah. Rex doesn't know how to dance, and I can give you another example like Amachi Dede.
Right.
Amachi Dede really, you see Amachi Dede dancing off beat, but his lyrics or his tempo with his
Are on
band,
point.
on point always. But you see, his movement, his ability to deliver, his energy gives you what you want. Rex Omar was on my comedy show the last time,
And he killed
when
it.
we were, you said I should hold it.
No, I said then, and he killed it.
Yeah, he killed it. And so far, all events that I've seen Rex on, he kills all the events. All. Even the recent Ghana Music Awards.
That's exactly my point. That's what I'm saying, that he doesn't know how to dance. Better still, even in fact, it was Rex Omar that lit the party.
Correct.
Because we had all been sitting until he came up, and boom, he got us all of us on our feet. You understand?
So let me give you the same example. I got Rex for an event, and his performance time was 30 minutes. He rehearsed for 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Then when the event started, we had some technical challenges and all that, so I needed to cut his time to about 25 minutes to 20 minutes. So I was worried to go and tell him that, Uncle Rex, we have to cut your time. But when I went to him, I was like, this and that, and he was like, don't worry about it. I have rehearsed for the 30 minutes, I've rehearsed for 20 minutes, and I've even rehearsed for 10 minutes.
Wow.
So, yes, that's what he told me. And he said, even if you tell me to play for 5 minutes, I know the kind of songs that I'll play. And when he came on, he cut off all the unnecessary, like the songs that he was going to play, maybe start up to ginger the crowd and all those things. He just cut all those this thing off, and he started with a bang. So immediately he came on. Once he sang the first song, everybody rose up, and I was like, this guy is a real professional and a performer, So that's why I said that for an artist, you always have to rehearse, and also rehearse for the unforeseen stuff that will happen when you get on stage.
Well, thank you very much. I am very grateful for your time, Nabil. God bless you. Chaleba, you do it for invite me. You play the shows without me. It's not good.
You don't get problem.
So now you tell me all the time. Charlie, have a wonderful day, bro.
Sure,
Thanks so much for your contribution. Right. Premier, say good morning, bro.
Good morning, Andy.
How are you?
I'm well.
Right. I'm sure you are following the conversation.
I mean, yes, very. It's
an
area of interest.
Let's get to Twitch House and speak with Elam. We spoke with Elam just yesterday, and he's back again. The man of many colors. So yesterday we looked at color red. Let's look at color green this morning. Elam, good morning.
Hi, Andy. Good morning.
Right. Twitch House, you've been doing a lot of events. Now, this one we are discussing audience poor reaction to artist performances during award shows.
Right.
I'm looking at performances and audience reaction.
Right.
Why do Ghanaians sit and watch people perform, although sometimes they give spectacular performances? Why?
Okay. All right. Good morning again, Andy, and good morning to your listeners. So I think in Ghana, there are a number of factors that you may want to look at if you want to have this discussion. Number one for me will be stagecraft. So you'd realize that some of our artists are not really dynamic. Okay, you'd realize that our artists sometimes lack a lot of creativity. And most of them don't even invest in their performances. I mean, Andy, when you take a look at foreign artists, if you take a look at even Nigerian, let's not go too far, even Nigerian artists sometimes, there is so much investment, there's so much creativity in their performances. Most of our artists will just come onto a stage and it's basically just them. Most of them don't even invest in dancers. Most of them don't invest in costumes. Most of them don't even do a proper rehearsals. So you realize that the audience reactions usually, I mean, it's in direct correlation with what the artist has to show. You understand my point? Sometimes you see artists, Ghanaian artists coming on stage, and it's just a one-man show. They are just walking from one end of the stage to the other end of the stage. There's no creativity, nothing. Okay, so for me, my first point is actually what the artist brings on board. Do they even learn? Are they exposed? It's difficult for you to get some of our artists going out to these foreign events, foreign concerts, foreign awards, to even get the experience. They lack the exposure. Okay, so to a large extent, whatever the artist is bringing on board is what will make the audience react. So for me, that's my first point. My other point will be the event organizers being challenged with finance or funds. So the dynamic setups that we need to create are not there. So you'd realize that the reaction of the artist sometimes, or the performance of the artist, is also dependent on your setup, on your kind of stage. You understand? So what kind of stage are you also creating for the artist to be able to, be interactive with his audience? Do we have stages that connect the fans or the audience to the artist? Because if you take a critical look at it, sometimes when you have an interactive stage, or you have a stage with a very good setup, very good lighting, it more or less gives the ambience, or creates the ambience for the fans to be able to interact with you properly, to connect with you. You understand? If you even look at the Big Brother Nigeria events that they do, when they are climaxing the show, the way their setup is even structured, you realize that you have some of the audience close to the stage. When you take a look at our foreign concerts, like in the typical ones that they do in the O2 Lounge, in the O2 Arenas, the Grammys, you'd realize that their stages are very, very interactive. You understand where I'm coming from?
That's right.
My next point will be the audience participation anticipation not being met. So sometimes you have audiences that are coming to your event with very high expectations, especially with our A-list artists. You're coming to a concert and you're expecting that this is what I want Star Accordion to do. This is what I want to see Shatawale doing. This is what I want to see this person doing. And then they come and then it's a total disappointment. And that is not to say that some artists don't put in their all. We have some artists that naturally have very dynamic and responsive stagecraft, creative stagecraft. Okay? But to a large extent...
But Elam, sorry to cut you, but as an event organizer, when an artist is coming to perform, do you engage them with their rehearsals?
Yes. Andy, the answer is yes. The truth of the matter is that the kind of events you are organizing will determine whether you need the artist to rehearse or not. Truth being told, it is not every event that you may need to get your artist to rehearse, go through a rehearsal before. So that at certain times or certain occasions that you expect the artist himself to know what he is coming to do. You will definitely engage the artist. So, for example, events in the conference center, events at the Dome, these are big events. These are huge events that you definitely need to get them to rehearse. But an event on the street, an event on campus, you understand, on our tertiary campuses, these are events that the artists are just coming through for about 10 or 15 minutes. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not every time that you get artists rehearsing for some events. So the creativity in the artist is very key. The artist needs to be very exposed. And sometimes I'll blame the management of the artist, because the artist in himself might not be able to do everything on his own. So you, as the management, you need to be the ones to show them what to do. You need to be the one that has to create the stagecraft for them. Give them something. Create a concept. Invest in the concept. You understand? But
Right.
sometimes you cannot blame the artist, because you cannot do the money crown is like, you understand, the money you're coming to give the artist. For example, you need to pay the artist some amount of money, and you are giving him about half of it, because you don't even have the money. You understand? Let's face the reality. Some people might not say this, but sometimes events
But
organizers,
must that affect your performance? That you've not been paid, or you've not been fully paid, and so you are not coming on stage to give your all. When else will you have the chance to impress the people?
yes, but not necessarily. It doesn't mean it should affect. But the point is, Andy, if you don't have the money, some of our artists don't have the money. They don't have the funds. They don't have the capital. Sometimes in investing in your stagecraft, you need to invest. You need to pay. You need to procure things. You need to create things. If you take a typical look at our video shoots, our music videos, most of them lack huge investments. You understand? There are particular artists there are just a few particular artists that are able to invest in their video shoots, because video commercials, because they have the money. You understand? But there are other key elements that I'd also want us to look at. The kind of technology that we use. I think I heard my brother from Event Factory speaking on technology, but I think he was more geared to the phones and we being on our phones and stuff like that. But Andy, for me, it's about what kind of technology do we have as event organizers to be able to use to create a very dynamic and interactive stage. You understand? Just a few. You'd realize that just a few or none of our events have very high standard and state of the art technologies. If you take a look at our events outside the O2 Arena, these concerts, Davido, swinging in from the ceiling. I know. I guess you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Like, you don't have the technology. Only I might want to give credence to Sadek of the 3 Music Awards. Last year, you realize what he did with his setup. At least he tried. He was able to bring in, when Shatta Wallace came in. Shatta Wallace's introduction came in from a swing. He had this platform that was drawn from the ceiling. He also had this car that was driven onto the stage. So these are the form of creativity that we need, but we lack the technology. Sometimes, Andy, it's really not about the. Sometimes it's even about the investment. It's about the money, because you can actually import some of these technologies. You can import them. There are countries or there are events that have been done that they've had to import the whole stage or the whole setup from outside. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes our auditoriums also does not give us the opportunity, relaxed state of the art and modern auditoriums in Ghana. And if you want to talk about auditoriums in Ghana, how many can you mention? How many can you mention? And then where are they also located? If you want to have a huge event in a comfortable area in, let's say, Cape Coast, would you get one? If you want to have a very comfortable event in the north, will you get one? So, there's a number of factors. Let me give you another typical example. So the locations that we organize our events also play a very big role to, what the final events will come up with. So you would usually realize that in countries like the States, events are not organized in the capital cities like Washington, D.C. They usually do their stuff in L.A., Miami or New York City, because the kind of people or the kind of audience that would jam up to their events are not located in Washington, D.C. You understand? The same for China. You wouldn't see them organizing an event in Beijing. It's usually in Shanghai and Nanjing. These are places where you have audiences that are ready to jam. We have audiences that are ready to have fun. Let me give a typical example. Even with me, I organized an event last year in 3 locations. So it was a train. It was an event I did for Indomie. They were trying to launch a campaign in Ghana. So we organized the event in Accra, we did in Cape Coast, and we did in Kumasi. Andy, Cape Coast was mad. You understand? Cape Coast, I mean, the crowd was crazy. The reactions, the fun, I mean, the response, I mean, compared to Kumasi and Accra. So sometimes, as event organizers or as an industry, we need to be a bit dynamic. It's not always the case that you're organizing your big event in Ghana. In Accra, in your capital city. You need to move it out. You get it. Let these people have a feel of your event, and then you get your reactions. Yeah, so for me, basically, these are the pointers I want to raise.
Wow.
So it's not always the case that, I mean, you just look at the artist and you look at the audience.
Right.
It's a multiplicity of factors.
Right. Okay. Wow. Thank you very much for your time, Elam. I'm so grateful, sir. Have a wonderful day. Now let's continue the conversation. Let's get further with George Quay, boss of Image Bureau. George, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. How be?
Good morning, my brother. We're blessed. How are you doing, too?
Good.
How are Noella and Kadi doing?
Oh, they are all very well. Thank you. They're waiting for you to come in as usual.
As usual, what?
Oh, come and wrap your hands around their corona shoulders.
The devil is a liar.
Okay, I'm sure you've been following the conversation.
Yes, I have. It's
Right.
a pretty interesting one.
Right.
Let's get straight into it. You don't have
Yes. You've done or you've organized events and you've seen how most of them occur. In the case of performance and audience reaction. When I was speaking with Nabil, he mentioned the likes of people using mobile phones. Elam just mentioned auditoriums and all. Now, in the case where we get people to sit in front, what we usually call the VIPs, why don't we get clappers instead?
Okay. Let us take it in totality. What you're asking is basically audience response, and I know you're coming from the backdrop of the just ended VGMAs where artists were on stage and people were just sitting down watching them.
Well, not entirely.
Yeah, but that's the most recent reference we can
that's
get.
right.
Yeah,
right.
that's what I'm... Okay. First, we need to understand that there's something called concert etiquette. Usually it refers to a set of social norms, which are to be observed by those attending, concerts, musical performances. And, of course, they vary depending on the type of concert, the type of music, and all that. So you do not expect the concert etiquette to be the same. Some of these etiquettes include the audience applauding, laughing, giving a standing ovation, and all those things. But these etiquettes, unlike the Western world where they understand, it is like sometimes in certain Ghanaian homes, people are given their food and they don't even understand the concept of having to clean your plate because it's not a part of upbringing. But out there, when you attend concerts abroad, you'd realize that they really adhere to a lot of these etiquettes and they follow them through. So that's why sometimes you might be watching certain concerts abroad and you see everybody up on their feet, up applauding and everything. We're a different kind of people. So over here, if you're into event planning, then you need to understand that audience response is twofold. It is one, engineered by event planners, and two, engineered by the artist. Let us take it from the artist perspective. From the artist perspective, sometimes the only reaction you would need is an applause. Because we need to understand that it is not every performance that is going to get people on their feet. There are performances that you just have to sit, watch, and appreciate. It is like a painting on a wall. It is not every painting that you see that would blow you away. There are certain paintings, somebody has to explain them to you first before you get to appreciate them and understand their true worth. Now, it is the same with performances. Not every artist would mount your stage and instantly you get people on their feet, jumping along and dancing. No. There are certain performances that even if you come up on your feet, you probably could spoil the performance. So you have to sit quietly and watch it till the end. Let us flip that to the role of the event planner. You're doing an event for TV. There's a performance on stage that is not even, one of those performances that require the audience to be seated. That is where what you call clappers, it is actually not the job of clappers, it is the job of a floor manager. Because when you're doing an event, especially if you're doing it for TV, it's a different thing if this event is not going live on TV or anywhere, or it's not being produced for TV. If it is being produced for TV, then all the elements come into play. Audience or concert or performance etiquette or event etiquette are very, very, very key. And your floor manager needs to understand every single aspect of this. Your floor manager should be the next person to understand your script probably better than anybody else aside your stage manager. So once you have your event director, he has done your scripting and everything, shared with the MCs and everything, the next important people who need to know it better than anybody else in that auditorium should be your floor manager and your stage manager. Why should your floor manager know this? Your floor manager should know this because he needs to know when to signal for the audience to even be on their feet. Andy, what a lot of us don't see, sometimes when we watch these other shows from other countries and we see people jump, no, they just didn't get up to dance. Sometimes they've been prompted to do so.
Right.
Because at the beginning of the concert, they were made aware that it is being recorded for TV, so there will be parts that they would be asked to do this, to do that, to do that. So they've been signaled to be upstanding. Sometimes the floor manager can even indicate an applause. What you may not realize is that for event planners, you also get to understand that there are things that are contagious. Things like getting people to stand, things like getting people to laugh, things like getting people to applaud. So sometimes those ones that are audio-based, laughter, applause, you can even get your DJ or your sound engineer to play it from his system. So once I am sitting in the auditorium and I hear a clap, I don't have to turn around to see where it's coming from. I would also be prompted to clap along. Sometimes you go to comedy shows and people are laughing, and somebody sitting next to you doesn't even understand the joke, but because everybody else is laughing, laughter can be contagious. He doesn't want to look like the one who's dumb and doesn't understand the joke, so he laughs along. So these are little elements that you introduce into the eventing business to make things look spectacular. However, I do understand exactly where you're coming from, where sometimes an artist is on stage and people are not dancing. You do not introduce clappers. You introduce people that would, just like we hire criers for our funerals, there are certain events that you need to invite. We call them party, there's a word for them, I've forgotten it. It's party poppers or party, they are the ones, they are the life of the party. You understand? You give some of these people free invites just to bring some fire to your event. So somebody is on stage, the performance is beautiful, it is great. They just get up on their feet, and when they get up, they encourage other people around them to get up. They can even get up, walk to your table and dusty, and drag you to your feet and get you onto the dance floor. These do not just happen by accident. You actually make them a part of your event planning. However, the bulk of the work depends on the artist. And artists need to know how to engage people at their concerts. And it doesn't come easy. It doesn't come cheap. It is tons of practice. And in Ghana, one of the people who was really, really, really perfect at that is Aman Samini. No two ways about that. You see, when artists are on stage, they need to understand that stage presence is a core variable, which actually determines if, someone will spread the good work about you, because it is what's going to give you your next paycheck. I don't even need to go into the definition of stage presence. I'm sure our audience know what it is. But the key is how to have a good stage presence, because that stage presence is going to spread like qatar, and it's going to catch your audience, and your audience are going to flow with you. Artists need to learn to mind their posturing on stage. The body language says a lot. People will tell you that they found it tough, jumping to or dancing to the late Nana 24 because Nana 24 come on stage and you stand at one place from beginning till end.
Uh-huh.
However, there are musicians too who have very good songs that work for them. And Andy, this one would shock you. There are musicians who actually, when you pay them their money, they also actually get people in the auditorium to be on their feet dancing when they're on stage performing to complement the act. Then there are those who bring other elements on the stage to excite you. The body language says a lot because, look, I mean, even in normal communication, we speak about verbal and non-verbal cues. You understand? And people can say a lot with their eye contact. People can say a lot by shrugging shoulders and all those things. The next key thing is to work the whole stage and all sides of the crowd. That is why somebody might get onto the stage and immediately jump into the audience. No, that is not what you need. Before you decide to jump into the audience, you might have established some level of communication, some contact. You don't just jump into the audience, walk, and come back. What are you jumping into the audience for? Why are you going into the auditorium? There must be a purpose. There must be a reason. And a lot of that, at the times, it comes with eye contact. You must have established some level of contact with somebody who you're taking your microphone to sing part of your song with you, somebody who's going to do a certain dance with you. Every single moment of your performance must be memorable. This, an event planner cannot do for you, but he can plan it with you. But when you're on stage, you, the artist, must bring that A game on. Then there's the involving the audience in that performance. You see, Andy, just because you are, say, moving around the parts of the stage and looking like, the various parts of the audience doesn't mean that the various parts or they are just sitting looking at you doesn't mean they are not involved. You see, they might be engaged, but maybe not involved. You need to find ways to make your performance feel like a group effort. It is not just you. It is you and the audience. You need to find a way to make it look like it's a collaboration between you and me. You must establish that connect between you and them. You can't come on stage feeling like you're a star. At that point, it is their money that has put you on that stage.
Right.
You owe them that performance. So artists who come on stage feeling like they are the biggest things in the room always tend not to give up their best because they feel the audience is there to worship them. Hell no. Go back and watch the King of Pop. When he was on stage, he was a servant. He gave it his all. You could feel the tiredness in Michael Jackson's voice. You could see it in his sweat, but the man was still going the extra mile and kept giving and giving and giving. So who are you to come stand on a stage and expect the audience to be the one giving it to you when you are not giving? Then you cannot allow silence, especially maybe you're on stage and then there's a technical hitch. Jesus, where's your creativity as an artist?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot just keep quiet. Oh, see, then my microphone spoiled again. Oh, it is totally bush. And it is wrong for any artist to do that. You're not killing the event planner because the event planner will get money to do the next event. You're killing your career. When that happens, artists need to learn to be creative. And again, one of the people I would respect most for that is Samin. He has found a way to perfect that again. Even when there's a technical hitch on stage, once that microphone is working, unless the microphone is no longer working, if the microphone is working and you're still on stage and you haven't been communicated to stop or do something, your band is off, whatever it is not working. If your microphone is working, engage your audience. Engage them. That's where you can do an a cappella. That is when you can do a freestyle rap. That is when you can spot somebody in the audience who can something. That is when you can celebrate somebody. That is when you can pay some respect back to the audience. That is when you can thank them, not just for your opportunity to be on that stage that day, for all the other times that they've supported you, downloaded your music. You need to be creative about that moment of a technical challenge. And you need to make it personal for the fans. When you're on stage, the fans are there looking at you. Without the fans, you have no stage really, because it's very difficult performing to an empty auditorium. While they are there, do not think because you're on stage they should get up and dance by force. No. You need to engage them. You need to make it personal for them. You understand? You need to give them fun, give them high fives, invite some of them to sing or have, some sort of contest with you on stage. Make it a dance moment. You have to make it become personal for a handful of people at the event. And you need to understand, too, that you should never, ever target satisfying everybody. Make sure you are satisfying a few, and it could become contagious and it would spread. That is very key. And artists also need to look fashionably larger than life. Andy, when an artist comes on stage dressed like a houseboy, I remember very well there was one, I'm not going to mention the artist's name, there was one event we held while I was working with Charterhouse. And this artist comes and they're looking for him. And I remember one of our colleagues said, oh, when I saw him, I thought he was one of the bandsmen. No disrespect to bandsmen. But the artist did not look like a star. Andy, again, let us attempt to define a star. What is a star? When you look up in the sky at night, it is that thing that shines up there. That desire, that wantonness, that love, that crave for people to want to see and touch you. That is what makes it a star, because that is why you are all the way up there. So if you come on stage and me sitting in the auditorium, I look better than you. Oh, you've lost my respect already.
Right. Now, George, when you were talking about the floor manager engaging the audience, because it is in a case where you are filming for TV.
Yeah.
Now, the just ended VGMAs was filming for TV.
It was filming for TV.
Excuse me?
Yes, it was filming for
Good.
TV, but it did not engage a floor manager, if that's where you're going. And I'll tell you why. Because there was a limited crew size that it could use, of course, COVID-19. So you needed to sacrifice certain parts of your crew size. And that is why, for the first time in the history of a Charterhouse event, you had a very, very, very limited crew doing a lot of work.
But with the tickets, there were instructions telling
exactly.
you that if you want to dance, you have to get up. Although the dancing could make it much more beautiful. So why don't you think the floor manager could have made it much better?
Because I just told you there wasn't even a floor manager. Because
that's what I'm saying. That don't you think they needed one?
Oh, yes. But Andy, that even needed a lot of things. That even needed more people in the auditorium than it had. That even needed 4 more of me backstage than it had. I mean, you were backstage. You saw the chaos that was going on there all the time. It happens all the time. You understand? That even needed a lot more hands. But we needed to, or the team needed to adhere strictly to COVID-19 rules and regulations. And that is why everything, I mentioned the event etiquette, it was put on that tiny sheet of paper that invitation document that you had. It was all there, that you could dance, you could do that and all that. You could get up and cheer, you could clap. So if people did not do it, it goes back to what I said earlier, that maybe eventing etiquette is not part of our upbringing. And that is what we need to start hammering. And I'm happy you're doing this show this morning. So let us not find where to push blame, because you cannot push blame, because trust me, everybody is doing their best. Look at the performances that evening. I mean, which artist did not give off his A game? EL opened the show beautifully. He brought on a choir. He stood on something that made his height. If I was standing there, I would look like a dwarf. You know, EL gave his A. He was fire. I mean, look at Episode. Look at Celestine Donko. Look at all the artists that performed. I mean, Kofi Mole, all of them. Everybody gave their A game. They tried. They gave it their best from the stage. Yeah, you name it. They all did very well. Strongman, Eno Baroni, the people did their best. So the question then is, even if you had a floor manager who was asking people, please clap, please do that, would they have done it? Probably not, because eventing etiquette is not a part of our upbringing.
Wow.
And these are some of the things we need to hammer. So it's a 3-way thing.
Right.
There's the responsibility for the event planner. There's the responsibility for the audience. There's the chief responsibility is for the artist. Because, Andy, ask yourself, why did you stand up and dance to some artist performances but didn't do same for others? Because there were some that moved you, others did not move you. So the bulk of the responsibility, like it or yes, lies on the artist.
Right.
Artists also need to learn to watch and record themselves and watch. Don't wait for performances. Sometimes just do it, just like we do it in our bathrooms when we are singing, playback, listen. Do it. Just let your friends record you and watch and see what you're doing. What you're doing, is it nice? Artists should not just wait for performance opportunities, especially those that are with record labels or have teams and all that. Don't wait. Practice, practice, practice. Kill the people. Michael Jackson could wow an entire audience with just a backslide he called Moonwalker. Just that. So there are very, very tiny little elements. And you see, if you're on stage for 10, 15 minutes, you cannot wow the people all through that 10, 15 minutes. You may be able to, but you need just that little tiny second of magic. It just takes one tiny little magic. I remember, I think at one of the Ovation Red Carols I had the opportunity of producing in Lagos. Was it Dibanj? Dibanj was coming on stage, and the guy just runs from the back of the auditorium. He bounces onto the speaker monitor, and he flips twice and lands on the stage.
Wow.
That was it for everybody in the auditorium. Forget about everything else he did that evening. Just that flip onto the stage. It killed it for everybody. So you just need one tiny little moment of magic. In one of the Michael Jackson shows, he left the stadium in a rocket.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was a dangerous tour or something.
Yes, exactly. He left in a rocket. Now, do you think anybody else that evening would remember anything else he did on stage? Forget it. That was the magic moment. So musicians need to learn. I remember one time Miss V at a Miss Malaika Ghana finale. She brought a magician. And the magician, did his magic, and Miss V appeared on stage. It was a wow moment. People loved it. Though by the time the magician finished and went backstage, Charlie, they had stolen all his stuff. And he was asking where the things were. And somebody said, but yeah, magician, tell the things to come back.
Conjure it. Charlie George, thank you very much, man. It's been very nice. All right. George mentioned something. He said, Michael Jackson came on stage and he killed the people. So when he came on stage, kill the people. If he killed the people, what happens to your audience? Listeners, please keep it tuned in. I'm going for a quick break. When I return, my pundits will take over.
I mean, just like the final bits that George Quay touched on before he left, there are three of these sides. I mean, with respect to the audience, the role that they have to play, and then the artist, and then the organizer. So, because of our number, I would just take one aspect of it, which is the musician. And I think with our musicians, they should learn how to select songs to suit the audience. I think most of them don't have backup performance plans. They only rehearse a particular songs that they know they want to perform, and that's it. And so when there is a change, or when they come and that audience that they had rehearsed for, when they come and there's a change of a target audience or something, it becomes another challenge, because we've witnessed an event where an artist has performed hip-hop songs to an audience that really didn't like hip-hop songs. But because probably he may have rehearsed that one, and he wanted to at least exhibit whatever he may have rehearsed, I think it's about time some of these artists, they have backup plans or backup performances plans. So, example, they can have plan A, where they are doing X genre of music which they've recorded or they've produced, and then they can do another set which will be also targeting a different music genre. So at the end of the day, when they come on stage, based on the people who are there backstage, they will know whether they are going with plan A or plan B. Even at times, when they climb on stage and then they are performing, when you do the first track and you realize first, second track, and you see the audience reaction and it's not exactly what you were expecting, you will know whether to switch to plan A or plan B. I also think some artists, they are just recording artists. And we should respect that too about some of them. It seems now every Ghanaian artist wants to be a performer, wants to be this and that and that. But there are some people, their strength is in recording. They have very good voices. They are studio artists, recording artists. They go record beautiful music.
It's because performance gives them a lot more money.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Yes, because of the whole money aspect of it, you see a lot of artists who really are not performing artists, trying to always come on stage to perform. And to once and then you might but stage be no at all. And you're the fault. And I think some of these artists should rather focus on more record sales and other things instead of trying to always, accept certain shows and performing them. Not at the end of the day, and the communication. Communication is very key. I remember I performed with Obrafour as a backstage DJ, and we didn't do any rehearsal. We only had a chat that, you know what, if I do this, this is what I mean. If I say this, this is what I mean. I said, okay, and went to say. So there are some of his songs, I will just drop it into when I fade out and people are shouting, he will give me that sign and I'll move to the next one. But then we have a lot of artists who do DJ. No, track two, DJ.
You mean few, girl?
DJ.
I worked with a lot of artists.
Pull up. I mean, these things is something that, it's not appealing to people. I mean, it's not nice when you are in an audience and then the artist seems to be saying, DJ, pull up, yo, DJ, stop. Then he starts to say something that has not been even planned. You see, another thing artists should also know is that it's not all the time that their songs have to start from the beginning to the end. Most of the artists, when they go on stage and they are given the opportunity to perform, let's say 15 minutes or 10 minutes, they want their songs to start from the beginning. There are some of the songs they can start from some cue points. It can start from some cue points. Or two way drew Hanuman for shout here, then it starts from another cue point with the backstage DJ helping the person out. You see, as a performances are one way because we don't also appreciate the involvement of performers or those who have actually learnt the craft of stage performances. I mean, there are people who have gone to NAFTI, learnt all these things, and then if you give them an opportunity, they can really give you a wow performance. But we don't actually involve these people because some of the artists feel, oh, me, I get fan base, they can't cheer me up. Oh, me, I be this person, me, I be big, I be that. So they don't really see the need to say, okay, this particular show I'm going to perform, I think we need to involve somebody who can give me a good entry. The person can help me know what to do when I'm on stage, how to engage the crowd and all that. We don't bring in all these professionals because one, Rebecca says he can't and here I'm a debe master day and there are some artists and the home big. Maybe some artists with I remember say manager bit fan or stage. It's a whole different thing altogether. When they see the crowd, oh, now if you're more gallivanting from one end to the other end of all right. So that is something we need to look at because we don't like professional stuff. We don't like engaging in things that about professionalism be prevail. So please, appealing to the artists, I think we should actually take this into consideration.
Well, thank you very much. Sadiq, please take over.
Yeah. So I mean, Premier is also equally right when he looks at it from the different elements because often when we talk about performance and we are quick to only look at it at the talent. I understand because obviously the talent is often the face. Sometimes the event organizer, unless of course it's a very bigger one, may not actually even be known. The guy who actually puts it together, maybe a corporate show or something like that, will only be known to the clients and not even the public. So you can go on and get your a different show, but it's not always automatic. Just sometimes also as an event organizer, when you flop it, it could affect your possibility of getting other gigs. You work with a lot of clients and sometimes, Charlie, after the events and the wireless that comes with it. But I mean, from the talent perspective, Premier is also right. I mean, when he talks about the talent teams ensuring that, because look, Andy, when you look at it, live is one of the biggest revenue channels for talent today. And so if one of your biggest revenue channels is anything to go by, then you definitely would have to give in more. But lately I realized that just sometimes because of the excessive fanatism and obviously because maybe he would have a lot more fan base in there, they don't give us the show element. So it's quick for everybody to say that I won't go to this show or I won't go to this show that has XXXS artists because it's going to be the same set. Because you are used to seeing the same talents giving you a same set over and over again, and every time there isn't anything new. I told somebody that after watching Cardi B's concert, for instance, anytime Cardi B plays again anywhere, and I have the opportunity to, I'll pay to go and watch. Because the talent team took control beyond the event organizers. They took control of their own sets. Obviously, somebody will make the argument of maybe being paid more and all of that, but they took control of their own sets to such an extent. Look, they came in with their own creative director, they came in with their own sound engineer, and that's one of the reasons why just sometimes, often, Andy, you made a point the other time, when it's a foreign act and they come, everybody will come and play, but I'm buy and that's sound and because I mean
someone must be tweaking.
He's just tuning it and turning it around and everything because they understand the music, they understand the set. There's a whole event set producer who's sitting abroad who will do it, and I've seen it happen with even some of the Nigerian talent here as well. I've seen it happen with some of the guys, but there has to be a certain effective collaboration between event producers and them. Often you don't have a lot more. Look, I've struggled, Andy. I've struggled a number of times trying to convince maybe some talents to say, you know what, on this particular show, because we are all selling a show, you have to look good, I have to look good. I think you should do this song or that song because we're telling a particular story. It's difficult because he's coming into there, he's thinking, Charlie, I'm coming to perform this my hit song. No, just sometimes it's not even the hit song. It could be 60 seconds, 60 minutes, but the back-to-back, every time sometimes when you allow us to, because we could sit down and script it out and flesh it out together with you, the talent. But often the focus is just on taking the money and not giving you the show. So it creates, and among event people, we speak to ourselves. So we know, we speak to ourselves and know that, oh, this guy, I mean, he will come and do this, and after some few minutes, he'll start panting and do, can't do anything. He won't give you a show, you know. So we know, we speak to ourselves, we know. And so you realize that you get some talent that will play all the public shows and equally play all the private gigs and everything. And the private gigs and all this kind of, the corporate ones. That is, it be those ones, you just call the budget, you just transfer the cost to the client. That's it. A lot of this, or even the weddings, you just call the budget, the cost, you just transfer them to the client. That is the bigger chunk of it, you know. So it has to be looked sideways. For us as event organizers, we need to put in more in creating the experiential element of the event, go the extra mile. Even if we have to speak to talent, if you have to carefully select talents that we can work with, who, I mean, you can really sit down with and flesh out, so both of you can have a good show. At the end of it, they say, okay, did you watch this particular show? It flowed seamlessly, it was nice, it was good. The artist looks good, you also look good. But most importantly, for a lot of talent, you need to take the destiny of your career in your own hands. Ensure that you have the teams and think about it and go the extra mile to give us all these experiential elements of the event. Mind you, the other part of it, live event, is that aside from giving you the much needed revenue, it also helps to activate your music in the minds of the audience to such an extent that could influence your streams. Haven't you seen a number of times and people listening to us, you go to an event and you might release just
one performance and
just one performance, that's it for you. You know, and then you go back trying to find out the song and stream it and all of that. So it could have a net effect on even streams as well. And that's the things that live events that. So beyond having to give the audience that experiential feel, keep it at the back of your mind that it could influence your streams as well. So keep it at the back of your mind that it is not only about just, okay, I take the money, then I come with my boys, 2x4 boys, and come and do whatever. Even if you have to push the event organizer to say, guy, what is the set going to look like? Where am I coming in? I mean, how many minutes do I have? What kind of cameras? What kind of this? What kind of this? Look, when we did the last virtual show, we went the extra mile, even to direct him to say, look, when you come here, look at this camera and spray the money gun into this particular camera. We'll work with you. I'll tell him, come and stand here, do this, move here, move here. If you have to look, because in my mind, I thought about it, even though he was a budding star, all we wanted was that by the time we're done with the event, everybody should come to and say, who is this guy? Because he had all the attitude and more.
Right.
And because we also felt that we needed to use some of the events to be able to bring them up. We wanted to be able to produce them so that after you are done, everybody says, who produced this show? Who is this guy? You know, so as much as we say that your show as an artist guarantees you your next gig, even for us as an events people as well, the show you put up also guarantees you your next event. So it's also important.
Right. Mr. Logic. Good morning. Before you come in, DJ Spliff says, I really agree with Nabil. Most of our artists are monotonous. Always one way and one playlist. One artist you can never get bored watching is Mr. Drew. He's always rehearsing new moves and performance sequence. True. Wow. That's DJ Spliff. All right. Please shoot.
Good morning, Andy.
Good morning.
I've seen there's an accident on the motorway.
And people are drinking beer.
Drinking beer instead of
I've seen it. People are tagging me on Twitter. People are drinking beer. All right.
And it's obvious that, event organizers will always speak for themselves. I mean, I don't expect them to speak for the artists. None of them spoke for the artists. I was listening to all of them from.
But must they speak for the artist?
Of course, now. So
But he spoke in the capacity of an event organizer.
Exactly.
So what do you expect?
So I will also speak in the capacity of an artist, because I understand the artist better.
Right.
Yes. And George kept using
Michael
Jackson as an example.
Michael Jackson is dead.
He's dead. Michael Jackson is dead. Let's talk about the living.
His legacy lives on.
No, come on, man. The dead has nothing to do with the living. The living has nothing to do with the dead.
With you. Before you derail,
yes,
or you make a mistake with the topic, we are looking at performances and audience reaction.
I listen to everything.
All right.
Coming.
It doesn't Michael Jackson.
And George kept referring us to Michael Jackson. So are we supposed to go back?
His legacy lives on.
Michael Jackson is a pop artist. So you don't expect me to perform like a pop artist.
We shouldn't set him as a case. After him, no.
It's Bob Marley.
But
okay, so
the living need the support they are giving to the dead. Come again.
Okay, so mention one person who mention a living legend.
Usher now, Usher, Usher or Chris Brown. You get me? So that
Usher is also like an offshoot
of Michael
Jackson.
Chris Brown also.
Michael Jackson.
We have used Usher
so the legacy
so we can keep track of
by extension, Messi Michael Jackson anyway. So
but they say you've used 1 minute. You've used 1 minute.
That's when they convince him, Charlie. Don't convince him.
When you strike him, then he goes.
No, don't convince him. Don't convince him. On personal show,
as a matter of fact, no, thank you. You see, I wore my glasses. As a matter of fact,
in fact, henceforth,
3 event organizers in the studio against one artist.
Henceforth,
nobody should look at it.
Yeah, don't look at.
No visual contact.
No visual.
No face.
No emotional feeling.
No.
It's very important.
Henceforth, guys, please. Henceforth, Mr. Logic comes up each time he starts speaking.
No looking at him.
There must be the song shove off because Mr. Logic comes in with a shove off segment.
And when you finish, you play Capone.
Yeah, man.
How the party look.
I want to hear it. You want to hear the Nankana?
I want to hear the Nankana first.
Okay, so it's time for you to shove off.
Let me shove now. Now people can understand me better.
Yeah, man.
Because I'm going to speak as an artist.
Right.
You see, I'm disappointed in Nabil, number one.
Hey.
And the guy who spoke after Nabil, Elom. Then George Quay gave a lengthy lecture. I was expecting him to rather answer the questions, but he was rather lecturing us. And the whole lecture was about event organizers and the things they expect from artists. I'm going to speak as an artist. See, how much do they pay us? They made reference to Sadiq's previous 3 music awards. I mean, great show, great stage art and all that. Andy, these event organizers are going to push artists, managers, and artists to come out with the confidentials. Because some of them, they sign a contract with you, let's say 10,000 Ghana cedis, and they give you 3,000 Ghana cedis. So where there is, we are brothers. Take this one, prepare yourself. They give you 3,000 Ghana cedis. It's for the artist, the manager, transportation, everything within 3,000 Ghana cedis. And then you are going to perform on a stage as huge as probably the conference center or any of these huge platforms. Yes. Then you guys are complaining about how boring they come on the stage. Look, George cited an example with foreign, how the foreign, they understand us. That is to say that Ghana, we are in class 4. Because the things that he said that we don't respond, we don't correspond, we don't relate, it is not part of our culture. Music culture is worldwide. So if he has acknowledged that the audience themselves are not brought up in the way to party, then why are you blaming the artists? Then you guys don't have a case. Because when they were talking from Nabil's presentation, I wasn't really paying attention because I was in a traffic. It was Elom that I really listened to. All the things he said, there are some of the artists that are not even exposed. They can't even perform on international platforms. These are all lies. These are all lies. Shatawale has held shows abroad. Stoneboy has held. Sark, they've all performed abroad. Why are you guys saying that they don't have international exposure? What is international exposure, Andy?
That's what. Say that.
Oh, come on, he said it. Play back the tape. Some of these guys don't have international exposure. They've not been on international platforms. How can he say this?
But he said some. He didn't say all.
Okay, if he says some, then how many? How many of them is the sum? How many? Are you leaving us to guess? Give us a number of them that you know. And these are the same guys you guys use every day. See, event organizers, I will exclude Sadiq and Kwesi. They will have to speak for themselves. Event organizers are taking artists and their managers for granted. You don't provide the right stage. Even your microphones, sometimes your batteries are all bad. George was saying that when the microphone goes off, you should be artistic. How artistic? Is it my fault your mic is off? Is it my fault? You didn't know that you have to put a good battery in the mic. You were able to pay for a big auditorium, pay for all the lighting. You couldn't buy battery.
Wash your batteries.
And you're telling me that when the battery goes off, you should be artistic. How artistic? I'm not expecting the battery to go off.
When the light goes off.
When the light goes off, it's my business. See, in natural sense, when the light goes off, you have to walk.
You for the breakdancing.
Andy, the mockery they are making of artists, see, that's why sometimes when I heard Shatawale has slapped some event organizer, I was happy. He slapped him because some of these things, on a normal, if you're on a stage as an artist and the light goes off against your plan.
How do you encourage that?
No, I told you I'm going to speak as an artist. So the event guys are here. Let them defend themselves.
Why are you heckling?
Hey, please.
Oh, please, I'm not.
I don't want any interjection. I'm speaking for my fellow artists out there.
All right. If I shove you off again, we'll go strike him.
I beg.
It's very important.
It's very important.
Me, I'm sorry.
Andy, you understand? These event organizers, I wish you had spoken to one artist to listen to their own problems. You guys don't even have batteries. Good mic. Your mics, when we come, we have to do poo. Your mics.
Then you are not a good artist. Why must you be doing poo?
The mic itself will be popping. It's not the artist who is speaking to the mic popping like this. It's the mic itself.
Get yourself a technician who can.
The same Michael Jackson that they were using as a reference point. Go and look at the set. Go and look at the kind of battery. Some of their mics don't even use batteries. Andy.
Use your usher.
You know, so this event organizers should be careful because see, it is a norm in Ghana that event organizers do backdoor dealings with us. Charlie, run away, no, Charlie, we no get sponsors.
Wait a minute. So with all the things you are saying, look, people are listening.
Oh yes.
Wait. So if I pay you, if instead of 3,000, I pay you 10,000.
Yes.
Would that stop the lights from going off?
If I see, this is what I expect them to do.
Or the
when
mic
when you call an artist.
What he's saying is that
Andy,
make I do my part, but you to do your part. That's
I've done my part.
Andy, what's
still the battery in the best shape?
If your battery is here,
Andy, I am waiting for the 25 bill to be passed so that we can have a statutory fee for artists, A-list artists, average artists, underground artists, the ones they call underground artists, the curtain raisers.
That one they won't work.
We'll get there. Andy, the thing is that
now I get my charge. What are you talking about? I get my charge. DJ Black there.
Let me deal with them. See, 3 event organizers. You give me time.
Are we going to continue?
George Quay spent 45 minutes. Andy, 45 minutes.
You took his 1 minute. Give him his 1 minute. Fire on.
George Quay was 45 minutes. George Quay alone.
Because we know the fire user.
No, be Andy. You heckle him. Make it give him in 2 minutes.
George Quay did 45
by the time
minutes. 2 more minutes.
Let me put it.
This one no be NDC platform.
You understand? So
are you taking 1 minute?
So the event organizers, 3 of them, they spoke for themselves. I told Sadiq, you guys are speaking for yourself. You didn't speak for us. So I will speak for my people. The thing is that when you call us and we say 20K, if you guys are professional enough, don't bargain. Because that 20K that we are telling you, craft day inside, costume day inside, dancers they complain about dancers, artists are not covered original. Dancers day inside. Transportation day inside. Some don't even drive. Rentals day inside. When we tell you 20K is Charlie, the show there, this show there be just here, no, maybe give you 10K. Even the 10K, there are terms. 10K will give you 2K in the alternate
tax.
Charlie, you guys don't have a case. Event organizers, you don't have a case. Let me tell you something.
Tomorrow we'll continue this topic.
No.
Kwesi hasn't spoken. I beg. Kwesi hasn't spoken. No, I beg, please. Please.
Don't you go get those kind of messages, son. You know that.
I was stuck in the middle of the action.
Yeah. That's every time they say. Today they go say, they feel like.
Please. Your 3 minutes starts now.
I told you. Kwesi says so, but I said 2 minutes.
Remember the 3.
Full time. 4.4.
Kwesi, DJ Black is here, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Andy, much respect to Lodgy for such brilliant submission. You see, the truth that all of us have to look into the eyes and speak.
Don't look into his eyes. What kind
is that? I think it's important for all of us as stakeholders, if we want to do a good service to our artists, to speak the truth that performance is becoming a problem in GH. And it is important for us to find a way to fine-tune our GH artists and lift them to a standard that they themselves will become proud of as Ghanaian musicians and performers. It's an art. Performance is an art. If anybody, why would people pay money to pay 200 Ghana, 3 million to go and then watch an artist at the conference center? If it is about your song they want to listen, they will have gone to iTunes or Boomplay and download it in their rooms. But because they are looking for something unique, that's why we say, well, performance. It goes beyond what you have recorded on your song or your CD. It has elements. It has a cultural element. It has stage dynamics. It has something to do with your costume. It has a lot of things. It has so much of so it is. What I'm saying is that it is important for our musicians to understand. Now I've come and I've said it. My hands all this my hands on air, and I've said that the way the trend is going, it will be some artists will really live long in GH. And artists such as Sarkodie, Shatawale, and Stonebwoy, Samini, these artists will continue to reign the music industry.
Listen,
they will reign for because very you know political why? Names. I every year by God's grace we organize Blaze on the Hills for Atkwau, and we do 30 artists in 3 days, 4 days. And I have had opportunity of seeing most of these artists that we are here fighting about them in year by year. And I can tell you that it is important for them to learn. It's an art, and they must learn to back up themselves up. Because sometimes, recently when we went to Ghana Music Awards, VGMA, brother, we were sitting down there. What did Nakoras came, the three of them? And they been that got everybody in the room.
Can we find out how much?
Don't look at my face.
He said, "Don't look at him. Don't look."
You see, I'm telling you, what did Nakoras came to do on the stage that got everybody? Were they carrying the stage? It wasn't not the same microphone. There wasn't not the same microphone with batteries that somebody is talking about that they came to use. Was it not the same microphone? Was it not the same microphone Celeste Doko used? Was it not the same microphone Eno Barani used? What was the difference? We were sitting there, somebody came motorbicycle. When I saw the motors come, I said, hey, and then they said, Messiah. Broom, 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 broom. We came to this person came with drums. I wasted our time. Motors be parking inside the room. Broom. Went to now. You have parked your motorbicycle. Go to the stage, go and perform. Dream Yamutu. So then why did you bring these motors? Why did you bring these motors? Why wasted about 10 minutes bringing motors and they went on stage to do 6 minutes performance? Why? So all these ones are important. And if a person is sitting down there, somebody has paid money to come and watch, and you go on the stage and disappoint the person, what do you expect the person to say? Is it the person's fault? It is you. You as an artist must always understand that every stage that you stand on must bring you another job. Every platform that you go on as an artist must yield you another performance. It is the reason why musicians have to sleep early. Majority of our musicians, one, they don't sleep early. They don't rehearse. Apart from rehearsals, they don't want to hire people to even groom them and train them.
Because he hug like Showbiz.
Yes, besides that, it's all about majority of them. It looks like somebody has told them that become successful and then have women. It is sex.
Thank you very much.
It is sex.
We will continue tomorrow.
Have time to sleep and rehearse and everything on VGMA night. That the person is even supposed to sleep and then rehearse his lines and everything.
He's having sex.
And there's one thing but you will go and 12 midnight. You will go and see him in one disco. Why you know the next day
disco?
They don't want to even check themselves under management policy.
All right,
There's one thing I'm even.
Somebody sent a message that if we are complaining about event organizers, how about their own shows?
I'm coming. This one this platform. See,
because we are done.
There's even one thing that I'm trying to look out for, Andy. What is it in the balls of these our GH musicians that anytime they come on stage? Their balls. Is it hernia that is causing them? That an artist come on stage and instead of looking at performance, the only thing that he's concerned about is holding their balls. Today, even Barcelona defenders have even forgotten their balls and they are there defending their pole. They are there. They have even forgotten about their balls and defending their pole. GH musicians, the only thing they do is they are holding their balls like this. What is it in their broken?
listeners, thank you very much for listening. Someone sent a message. Pascal says, and the medical is always with reflectors like you work for Harboby. Messages, man, can be, man. Yeah. Listeners.
This is Hitz.